Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Family Bible Study. This week we're going to talk about Jesus healing a young official's son. We're going to go ahead and turn to John chapter 4. We'll be in verses 43 through 54 today, and I'm just going to kind of tell the story. So, the story tells us about the truth about the people that Jesus was around. We start out with Jesus going up to Galilee. So that's where he was raised. That's where he grew up. And he says that people collect memories of you. The Bible doesn't say this, but this is the idea that's kind of coming across. I can tell you that that's true. When I graduated high school, there was a woman in our church who was a friend of mine's grandmother. And she had videos of me from when I was 5 years old that she wanted to share with people. People collect memories of you, and they keep you in this age, in this stage. And Jesus probably wasn't any exception to this. He comes into Galilee, and he knows that the people won't accept him as the Messiah because they only remember him as the little carpenter boy, Joseph's son, right? But when he got there, they were so excited because they saw what he had done in Jerusalem at the festival that they were at. They were at Passover before this, and Jesus had done all of these miracles. He cleansed the temple at this point. He was doing things throughout town, and all of a sudden, he comes back up to Galilee, right? And then it talks about when he goes to Cana, where he turned water into wine, that first miracle that we talked about. And it says, while he was there, an official of the government came up to Jesus because his son was sick in Capernaum. That's a big distance away, by the way. When he heard that Jesus had arrived, he went to him and begged Jesus to heal his son because he was about to die. Okay, I would have also been begging at this point. Then Jesus says, unless you see signs and wonders, you will never believe. He basically says to the guy that you're not really doing this because you believe right now. You have to see something. And that's when the official asked him to come down from where he was at and heal his son. And his son wasn't with him, so I don't know why he asked him to come down. But he says, come down and save my son. And Jesus told him to go back home because he's already been healed, right? The official began heading home, and he met one of his servants on the road who was coming to get him. So they're crossing on the road, and they meet, and he goes, hey man, what's up? And he says, well, your son, he's healed. He got healed yesterday. And the official says, well, what time yesterday? That's super crazy, because I asked that Jesus guy to heal him yesterday. And he says, well, it was about 1 o'clock. And the official goes, what? That's when I was talking to Jesus. That's when I asked him to heal him. And that's kind of how this story goes. So this week is very short, like I said, but it encompasses two major lessons. The first is the reason for Jesus' miracles. So Jesus' miracles in the Bible are signs, right? He talked about it when he was talking to the official. He said, you won't believe unless you receive signs. So think about when you're driving on the road to get somewhere and you see a sign that points somewhere, right? Maybe you have to turn or go straight and it says 20 miles, it says 10 miles, it says 3 miles. That's something pointing you to something, right? Signs point you to where you're trying to get. That's the purpose that Jesus' miracle served here. It was to prove to the people of Galilee that Jesus is God, right? They had seen him as little carpenter boy. They've seen him as the kid who went to the temple and started teaching, but they hadn't seen him as God. And so when he performed this miracle, it was pointing people to that truth. Second, we learn about faith. According to Hebrews, faith is believing in what you can't see. The official believed that Jesus had healed his son without seeing him. That was unheard of at this time. If you look through the Old Testament, you'll see that when people were healed, it was usually because someone touched them, or someone prayed for them, or with their family members. And that's probably why he asked Jesus to come down, so that he could pray with him, or he could do something to heal him. But Jesus didn't have to see him. Jesus didn't even have to know who he was. Jesus just healed him. He had faith that Jesus was who he says he was, and that he didn't have to be there to heal his son that I call little Bobby, right? So let's talk about these ideas. First of all, talk about some things you have faith in. Maybe it's gravity, something that you can't see but you believe in. I'm held to the ground by gravity, right? Or air, the stuff that we breathe. It comes in, but we can't see it. Maybe Jesus, the easy answer, right? Talk about why you believe those things and how important they are, right? And then pause this video and talk about that for a little bit. But then talk about how you know that Jesus is God's son. There's proof that Jesus lived, and there's proof that Jesus is God, right? And we can see pretty clearly that Jesus was alive. There's historical evidence. There's people that have written for a lot of time basically to tell us this, and most people that study Jesus that aren't Christians will even admit Jesus is a real person. But talk about the evidence that we have that Jesus is God's son, right? Whether it's because you believe in the Bible, or because God did something really awesome in your life, or maybe God did something awesome in your friend's life or your family member. But talk about the reasons that you believe Jesus is God. And then pause me. So, now that you guys have talked about that, I really just want to spend some time praying before we go. Like I said, it's a shorter video this week, but it works out. So, God, thank you so much for today. Thank you for these families, these people, these individuals that are watching these videos, God, and I pray that you would be with them, that you would encourage them as they're spending time going through the Gospel of John right now. And God, I pray that you would just work through them to do amazing things. Lord, I pray all these things in your Son's name. Amen.